to the EFF. Their Commander-in-Chief was due back in the Newcastle Magistrates Court over land grab talks that he made in the province this year. The case moved then to the EFF. Their Commander-in-Chief was due back in the Newcastle Magistrates Court over land grab talks that he made in the province this year. The case has been postponed to the 28th of February. Julius Malema first appeared last month when he requested time to apply against the current act that makes his talk on land illegal. Now, he accused of inciting violence when he was giving talks about white-owned land in the country, something that also landed him in hot water and see him facing other similar cases in another province. Malema's case is set to continue today in Newcastle. Now, last month, the EFF tried in Parliament to have legislation made during apartheid reviewed by the House, including the act which Malema is accused of contravening. Well, joining me now is constitutional expert Zahir Omar. Joins us from Pretoria. Very good morning to you, Zahir. Good chatting to you. I guess looking at it, Julius Malema is going to be taking this all the way to try and avoid prosecution.
Now, Julius Malema, I understand, is applying to the Constitutional Court to have certain sections of the Writers' Assembly Act declared unconstitutional. But even if he succeeds, it's not going to be of any help, because incitement in our country is per se a crime, and incitement to commit any offense remains a crime. Now, Malema has called upon African people to occupy unoccupied white-owned agricultural land. He did so in Newcastle. But now to occupy unoccupied land without infrastructure is tantamount to a call that our African brothers and sisters in our country must live in squalor because there's no infrastructure. There's no sewage, there's no plumbing, there's no water. Where does he expect and how does he expect the people he is making a call to occupy unoccupied land must live? Is he saying that the African people in South Africa should continue living immersed with sewage and squalor? He is wrong. His real agenda is something else. What do we need? We need money to enable government to set up infrastructure on land so our people could live like human beings in cleanliness. And this money can only be wrestled from the few white who control banks and who control the resources and other mineral resources beneath the ground. And the ANC right now is actively engaged in attempts to wrestle a fraction of the wealth that remains monopolized by a handful of whites like the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers. This will be required. Malema and his party have formed a coalition with the DA. The DA has very intriguingly not once condemned Malema's insightful remarks made in various towns in our country. Why didn't they do so? Because Malema is advancing an agenda of the DA. They are working together. The idea is to render our country unstable and ungovernable. Malema's continued rants inciting people is harmful for the country. Malema's sole purpose is advancing the interests of the DA, which is a party protecting the interests of a small group of whites who want to perpetuate monopoly of wealth in our country. Our people should not be misled by Malema. In the past, shortly after '94, the ANC could merely murmur, wielding a two-thirds majority in Parliament and amending the Constitution. The handful of the whites were then concerned that this could happen and we could then force a sharing of wealth. Even that leverage the ANC had does not exist anymore because Malema has misled particularly the young African people into believing that he is with the far left of the politics, which is in fact a lie. We can't occupy unoccupied land without infrastructure. Infrastructure involves plumbing, sewage facilities, electricity. We can't have our African people continue living in squalor, and the call to our people to occupy unoccupied white-owned land is a ruse. It's designed to create mayhem in our country.
So here, just sorry, for the people in terms of the processes now, the legal processes, politics aside, he goes to the High Court to try and have this this act nullified, this Riotous Assemblies Act. In terms of the procedures now, could this go all the way to the Constitutional Court? And what happens if this could be struck off? What happens to Malema then?
The Constitutional Court will not, or very rarely will it seize a constitutional challenge without a comprehensive judgment from the High Court. So Malema will have to first apply to the High Court and ask the High Court to declare sections or provisions of the Riotous Assembly Act to be unconstitutional. Then, in terms of Section 172 of the Constitution, the High Court will then refer the matter to the Constitutional Court. Only the Constitutional Court can confirm that the provisions challenged are unconstitutional. But Malema is definitely going to lose in the Constitutional Court. In fact, what is going to happen? Malema is going to repeatedly appear in various courts. His object and idea is to continue misleading the youth of our country into believing that he is a party embarking on real change. He wants the publicity. He's being helped by the white-controlled media. This whole case is a publicity stunt. But at the same time, what we, the Society for the Protection of our Constitution, are doing, we are going to now focus at every appearance to remind our people that come 2019 elections, they should be aware and alert, as were our brothers and sisters in Natal, who have rejected this notion and who have already found that Malema is using a ruse, he has perpetrated a fraud and is misleading the people of our country.
Great, so here